In today's video, I want to talk about perception and perspective, and how one is that which causes limitation with the mind, and the other causing that which allows us to grow mentally with perspective. Now, perception is the enemy of perspective. This is because perception is by definition limitation, and perspective is instead a definition of liberation. This is why you must never limit your mind to a two-dimensional perception of reality that is confined by the limitations of singular thought. Perception itself, coming from the singular individual, is very limited because it only comes from one form of perception, one direction. It's not something that has multiplicity to it, like perspectivism or having perspicaciousness. Those types of qualities are things in which allow us to breed insight from different angles and views of life, which is much more beneficial for us, especially if we're people who want to innovate and be innovative and be creative and find pathways to life that are different from the things in which people continuously go on that breed mediocrity. It will only breed a mindset that generates limited preconceived notions, cognitive biases, and narrowly conditioned beliefs generated from the limited perception of your own vision of reality. So people who fall into this kind of category, who are not divergent, who are not people who have perspective to life or apply different forms of perspective, they're usually people who are very self-limiting. They're usually people that have one specific narrow-minded view of themselves or of life, and they live by that, and they stay within the framework of that thought itself. And this obviously limits us, it limits our ability to expand and grow as individuals. Instead, your mind needs to be like that of a high-flying hawk within the wind, high above the atmosphere, high above all of the other prey in which that hawk is predator to, in the sense that you need to be able to oversee all possibilities of reality and make them immediately actionable within the grasp of your very own hands. Perspective is therefore divergency. We can see it as divergency. And divergency is your ability to divert and deviate from the all too common path that most people take in life. Perspective allows you to act divergently to create alternate pathways of reality that bypass the outcomes of mediocrity, bypass the outcomes of how most people live or how most people exist within the world that reap the same results, so that you yourself can reap different results with a different lifestyle, with a different frame of mind, and a different take on life, a different philosophy of life. Because to be common is also very much to be mediocre. Now we can think of this in the sense of what the Bible says about virtuous men needing to be like that of trees, because we need to bear good fruit. And we can think of it in the sense of roots. What are the roots of a tree? They're very divergent. They go into many complex forms and they seek out the nutrients within the soil. And then they convert, in a very alchemical sense, they convert that soil or the nutrients into things that bear fruit, into branches, into flowers, into different forms of fruit that are then something of value, something of virtue, something that requires conversion and virtue for those things to be produced. So we need to be, in that sense, divergent. Our roots need to go deep into the soil. We need to find mechanisms and ways of life that are going to reap rewards that are that of virtue. We need to bear good fruit. And even Jesus warns us about this, that we need to bear fruit. We need to do good works within this world, because when it comes to judgment, we need to actually have something to show for ourselves and what we have done on this earth. As it says, the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. And that's in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 30. So your mind in the face of reality needs to be an observing and discerning ally that can execute wise insight and divergency for whenever you are confronted with difficulty, weakness, and hardship when in the face of reality and dealing with the difficulties of life itself. A mindset of diligent divergency is affirmative in any situation and is ultimately unbreakable. So if you enjoyed this video and you're interested in any form of coaching and you want to figure out how to kind of build an unbreakable mindset so that you can surpass problems that people fall into when they only live by perception Because when you only live by perception, you get trapped into self-limiting thoughts, self-deprecation, and the inability to actually think outside the box. If you want to be able to do that, to build an unbreakable mindset, then look into my program down below, my anti-procrastination program, where I will teach you techniques and methods to build that mindset for yourself so that you can overcome these very common problems that we face on a daily basis. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and I will speak to you in the next.